John, can you go ahead and record us? We'll get started here in a second.
We are recording. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, members. Good morning, members of the public. My name is Roxana Gamusio. I am the Executive Director with the Auctioneer Commission. Today is Monday, November 18th. We will get started here shortly. This is our regularly scheduled commission meeting. And so as the first order of business, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order and then do roll call to make sure that we have quorum. Members, when I read your name, please let me know that you are here. The mics will only allow 4 to be read at the same time, and so if after you've spoken or asked a question, you can press on it again, that'll free up a mic for someone else. Mr. Ed Knight.
Here.
Thank you. Jeff Morris is not here today with us. Larry Sims also is not here. Dwayne Rogers.
Present.
Thank you. And Jay White.
Here.
Thank you. We have quorum in order to proceed. And we started right at about 9:02, I believe. Notice of this meeting was posted on the auctioneer's website as far as the date, time, and location since August 25th of 2023. Additionally, this agenda was posted prior to or on November the 8th. The first order of business is any individuals that wish to make a public comment on any of the items listed on the proposed agenda during the scheduled public comment period will need to sign in on the sheet provided. Also, we've got individuals that participate through Teams online, and they too will be given an opportunity to ask any questions related to the agenda as the meeting comes to an end. And I've got that notice right after our new business in case we have several members. That time is limited, can be limited to 3 minutes. The first order of business is to adopt the agenda. I would need a motion and a second, and if you have any changes to the agenda, we can make those now.
I'll make a motion.
Second. Thank you. We have a motion by Jay White and a second by Ed Knight. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you. The next item is the approving the minutes from our August meeting. Those were emailed to all the members prior to today. If there are any changes to the minutes, let me know. Otherwise, I would need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Jay White and a second by Ed Knight. All those in favor to approve the minutes from the August meeting as presented, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, members. Our next item on the agenda starts on page 7 of your iPads, and this is our first educational review. This is a 6-hour continuing education online course. It is offered by All Star Training Incorporated. The 6-hour course is titled Tennessee Auctioneers Course Number 2, and the instructor is Rick Duffy. This also was emailed to everyone prior to the meeting. Please let me know if you have any questions, concerns for us to discuss. And then if in agreement, we would need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. We have a motion by Dwayne Rogers. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, and we have a second. That was you, Jay, correct? I missed it. Thank you, sir. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, members. The next item within our educational review starts on your page 24. This is an actual course offered by Walter State Community College. It's the 50-hour course for the affiliate auctioneer qualifying educational requirements. The provider was previously approved, but records were obtained prior to us loading into our current system, so we didn't have the actual scanned documents of when they were approved years and years ago. Bob has done an amazing job making sure that all of our courses, whether continuing education or qualified education, that we have an approval, that we can see those documents. And so in searching for these, they submitted their new information for approval, but they have been approved in the past.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
Thank you, Jay. We have a motion by Jay White. Do we have a second?
Second.
and a second by Ed Knight. All those in agreement, please say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you, members. The next item on our agenda is the director's budget. As you know, we go over this for informational purposes. We just received the documents closing fiscal year 2023, 2024. That starts on your page 46 on your iPads. That document is really nice in that it gives you a projected number for the 4 years. It kind of gives you more than just 1 year. The year ended up with the program being in a deficit of $1,943. Our reserve balance is still in good shape. It's $517,566. This is the first year that we're at a deficit. Our licensing numbers are down a little bit, nothing drastic, but they are down. And this program has incurred some additional, fees as far as costs. So that's where we ended the year for our actual revenue and expenses for the commission itself. The following page lists our educational fund that, as you know, by statute has to be at $150,000 or more. That number is at $177,601. We are going to watch the courses that we approve a little bit closer to make sure that we don't get right to that 150. Again, with the licensing numbers down a little bit, we just don't want to be in a situation where we can't approve a good course or anything like that. So we're making sure that that is being watched a little bit closer. And then the next item shows you our numbers through September, and looking at the financials that are for fiscal year 2024, 2025. By the end of September, we have an additional deficit of $832. And so hopefully that's not the trend, but it wouldn't be anything that the commission, at least at this point, would be concerned as far as fees increases. But we're watching all of that. Any questions, members?
But you say the license registry, or the licensing is down. Do we know why?
That's a
Or
good question.
What percentage is down? I mean,
It's not a big percentage. It's about 3%.
is that-
So the drop is not big, but it's a trend. I think at the August meeting, maybe the one prior to that, I presented all those numbers to
Yeah,
review.
maybe.
I'll probably do that again in February. Our bid color numbers are down. I think our principal went up a few, but the affiliates were also down a little bit. So overall, it was just a 3% decrease. So hopefully, it's just one of those things that the industry maybe is shifting, that we'll see a pickup once those affiliates finish their training and bump up to principal. So just something that we'll keep an eye out. And I'm happy to always submit those licensing numbers at least every other meeting or so we can keep an eye on it. Thank you. If you have no other questions at this moment from what's on our agenda, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Kim for the legal report, and that starts on your page 49.
Good morning, Commissioners. The first two matters on your legal report are a related complaint. An anonymous complainant alleged that these two respondents were operating a unlicensed auction weekly. The respondent in the first matter did respond to the complaint and said that they were the owner of the building where the auction was being held, but that other than that, that they were not involved in the actual auction. They did allege that the respondent in the second matter did conduct the auction. That respondent did not respond. However, the respondent in the first matter said, "They told me they were licensed. I had no reason to think otherwise." The other auctions that they had held there was held by a licensed auctioneer, that at this particular auction was not available. And so the respondent in matter number 2 stepped forward and said that they were a licensed auctioneer and could help out for that auction. Because they did not respond, I have no other option other than to take the respondent statement from the first case as true, and have assessed or recommended a civil penalty for $500 for unlicensed activity because they were formerly licensed but haven't been for 6 years now.
Are they no longer conducting auctions? Is that
Correct, yes, sir.
correct?
The respondent that did respond in matter 1 said, "I was unaware that they were not licensed," and provided a copy of a statement that they put out on social media that said, "We're not doing this anymore until I can resolve these licensing issues that have been brought to my attention."
So these first two is related, I
Yes,
guess
sir.
you want to say, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Do you need a motion to accept your recommendation?
I can go on to the, I would need a motion to accept the recommendation. I can go on to matter 3, and you can make a motion to accept the legal report as a whole, or we can just take them one by one if you have any questions.
Whatever you want to do, that's fine.
Okay. Going on to case number 3, the complainant was a purchaser of 50 acres of an estate property at an auction conducted by the respondent back in 2022. The complainant alleges that the respondent engaged in a misrepresentation or deliberately withheld information from the bidders regarding an easement that was on the property for a septic system. The complainant essentially alleged that there was no way that this respondent could not have known about the easement and the septic issues that were going on, and appears to blame the respondent for the increased cost of building anything essentially on the property that was purchased. The respondent denied knowing about the easements, denied that the estate representatives ever told them about the easements, said, that if they had known, they certainly would have said something, but the respondent also pointed out that there was a title search that was done by the complainant and their attorneys that did not find any notice of the easement. It appears that back in 2002, I guess it was, that was when the easement was granted, and there was a mistake in the title, and it did not list the easement. So the respondent pointed out if their own title attorney didn't find it, that they weren't sure how they were supposed to find it. And so while it's an unfortunate situation for this complainant, I can certainly understand their frustration. There's just not any evidence that this respondent in particular purposely misled them regarding the property. And so I recommended dismissal on that one.
There's really not much we can do on that. It's more of a civil issue, it sounds like, right?
Correct, and they are pursuing their civil remedies.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to accept your recommendations.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Ed Knight, and Dwayne made the second. Is that correct? Oh, I'm sorry. Jay, I wasn't looking up. Thank you. To accept the 3 cases with legal counsel's recommendation. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Hearing none opposed. Thank you. That takes care of our legal report. I'm going to turn it over to our attorney, Anna Matlock, to go over just a couple items. Thank you.
Good morning. Okay, so I have a couple of things that I want to talk about at this particular meeting. I believe the first thing on the agenda is a rules update. So as you know, we have 2 rules packages moving right now. The first one is the rule amendments that we had a hearing, a rulemaking hearing related to the public automobile auction rules. Those rules are presently at the Attorney General's office awaiting signature. I sent them a signed copy of that last week. So I'm anticipating a signature coming from the Attorney General soon-ish. After that point, once we receive the signature of the Attorney General, the rules will then go to the Secretary of State's office where they will receive a effective date, and then the effective date will be 90 days from the date that they were filed, so essentially 3 months afterwards. So I'd say we're about 3 to 4 months away from those rules becoming effective. Any questions about that particular package? Okay. The second rulemaking package that we have are the changes that we made following the department's retrospective rule review edits, and we presented those to you back at the last meeting for approval. And those rules we will likely have a rulemaking hearing for those rules at the February meeting. Then we've gone through the rulemaking hearing process at that point. I'm just waiting on a couple of more approvals, and hopefully we can have that at the February meeting in time for that. And so those are the current rule packages that we have at this time. Any questions about rules? Okay. The last topic I would like to discuss today is related to online auctions. So if you have been on the commission's website, which I know everyone checks very frequently, you'll see that there's an announcement on the website, and it states that the Tennessee Auctioneer Commission is no longer enjoined from regulating online auctions. And so it says, please consult the specific statute and rules related to licensing requirements and exemptions. So essentially what that means, we are still in the midst of litigation right now in the federal district court. However, there's not an injunction related to that, which would be preventing us from enforcing online auctions. So the commission is going to go ahead and move forward with enforcing online auctions. Therefore, anyone that is conducting an online auction that falls into the jurisdiction of the commission will need a license to do so. Related to complaints moving forward from that, so we have a few complaints related from that, from litigation monitoring. Those will come out of litigation monitoring, and they'll be presented to you in February. And so those complaints, because unless you believe otherwise, after a discussion, it was made a determination that since we were enjoined and those complaints could not move forward, and we're making this announcement related to online auctions, that it would probably be best appropriate to issue those individuals a letter of warning instead of any form of a civil penalty. Probably that wouldn't be fair at this point, I believe, so since we are just now deciding to move forward with that. So therefore, any complaints that start coming related to online auctions, they will be processed as normal, come before you for recommendation and discussion. So any discussions related to online auctions.
All those past complaints will be brought up again in February.
Yes,
Yeah.
the ones that we have that are open. So we did have previously, when we were enjoined, several complaints that never came before you because we closed them for no jurisdiction because we did not have jurisdiction over them. So those complaints will not come before you because they're closed unless the individuals were to file the complaint again. But at this point, we didn't have jurisdiction over them at that point. So no, just the few complaints I believe we have in litigation monitoring will be coming before you. And any future complaints that come from individuals at this point.
So you said a warning letter, would that be automatically done, or does that have to be approved?
No, it
February?
would be approved by you. So we would bring them before you, and that's just the general recommendation that we would have after I discussed it with our my supervisor, and we had discussion related to it. We thought that a letter of warning for the pending complaints would be the most appropriate, considering at that time, we have not made a formal announcement that the commission would be enforcing online auctions. Of course, it's completely up to your discretion if that's not what you would like to do. You do not have to do that. That's just our legal recommendation at this point.
Do we have an estimated time when that'll be resolved, or is it like everything else, just up in the air?
What the lawsuit?
online. Yes.
I don't have an answer for
Okay.
you at this time. Okay, well, those are my updates. Anything else? Any questions related to online auctions, rules, complaints? The atmospheric
The
pressure being high.
auto auction,
Yes.
that was the licensing rules. That would change the younger age? Is that
Yes, so
change
the
for
auto
that?
auction has two parts. We will be amending the age requirement that went from 21 to 18. But that's already in statute, so we're already approving those things. So this is just a rule change to make sure that the rule matches the statute. And then the changes related to who is required to hold the motor vehicle dealer license for public automobile auctions will be put into rule to reflect the changes that happen in statute.
Could you go over that change, please?
Sure.
The last one.
Okay, hold on one second. I'm gonna pull it up. I wanna make sure I'm saying exactly right because, yes. So, We are amending for public automobile auctions. The regulation specifically is Rule 0160-01-0.25. And it's going to be, we're making changes to paragraphs 2I and 2J. So right now, it states that the public automobile auction has displayed on its premises a valid motor vehicle dealer license from the Tennessee Motor Vehicle Commission. So that's not very clear. So at the end of that, we have added the language issued in the name of the public automobile auction. And then the next rule states presently the public automobile auction has displayed on its premises a valid license from the Tennessee Auctioneer Commission. And it states there in this particular version, issued in the name of the public automobile auction. So it's clarifying that the public automobile auction is required to have a license issued in its name from both from the Tennessee Auctioneer Commission, and that valid motor vehicle dealer license from the Motor Vehicle Commission is issued in the name of the public automobile auction. There is some confusion whether it had to be the auction or the auctioneer, and it's the auction.
Before we hand it back to the executive director, I wanted to let you all know that in addition to the rulemaking hearing that we're going to have at the February meeting, there will be a formal contested case hearing. So it's going to be a bit longer day than normal, just for planning purposes and scheduling.
I don't think this commission has had, I know that this group has not had a contested case hearing at this point. So it will be, Ms. Cooper will be representing the commission. The respondent will either be by themselves or represented by counsel.
They have counsel.
Represented by counsel, and then an administrative law judge will be sitting with us to make evidentiary rulings, and then you will sit as essentially a jury in that capacity to hear the case and make a determination. So, any questions? Pack a lunch for February.
We attorneys can be long-winded, and since there's one on either side, yes, sir, that'd probably be a good idea.
Hopefully just lunch and not dinner too.
No.
Just
don't
kidding,
do-
just lunch.
I agree with Ann. I don't think, I've had the program since July of 2016, and we've not had a formal hearing. So it will be new, probably even to Jeff, who's been on the longest. So
Okay.
it'll be good. It'll be good. Any other questions, members, that you've got on anything we've touched? Okay, as we are on our new business items, I want to make sure to open up the floor. Anyone that's here in person has questions, will sign in, and then we'll give them an opportunity to ask questions or have an opinion on the agenda. And then we do have, I believe, participation remotely as well. So I want to make sure that we give plenty of time for everyone. Any questions? Yeah, we'll go ahead and take care of our members that are here in person. Thank you.
Hey, good morning. Do I need to turn this on?
There you go.
Hey, good morning. Drew Williams. I'm here representing the Tennessee Auctioneers Association. I just had a question for Anna. The way I understand it, so as of November the 18th, here at 9:25, any complaints against online auctions, y'all will hear anything past what happens after this meeting today? Is that how I understand
Yes,
that right?
that's correct.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Drew.
And so with the notice that we posted is on the website to let individuals know that we are enforcing online auctions, and that's been up there for a little while. So if the association would like to clarify that information to their members, you're free to do so.
Good morning, Shane McCarroll. Thank you guys for everything you're doing. Anna, I just wanted clarification, if you don't mind, on the notice that's on the TAC website that basically lifts the injunction, and it refers back to 6219-103 and 0160-01-18. From a licensing or from a teaching standpoint, when we revert back to that, that still exempts, as my understanding, that still exempts fixed time listings. So when we talk about online auctions, and we're teaching online auctions at the moment, if an online auction is being conducted that does not have an extension, the commission does not have jurisdiction on it. As of now, that's still consistent with the statute, correct?
Correct. So specifically, 6219-103-9 states any fixed price or time listing that allows bidding on an internet website but do not constitute a simulcast of a live auction, that is exempt from the chapter. So those would not apply.
Got it. So it's online auctions that have extended time that we would now have jurisdiction over.
Correct.
Okay.
Or above $25,000 in revenue in a calendar year in the state of Tennessee. So anyone that makes less than $25,000 in revenue related to online auctions is not required to have a license.
Okay, so if they're making more than 25 and it's a fixed time, does that then put it in jurisdiction, or is that two separate exemptions?
That's two separate
So all
exemptions.
fixed time are exempt, and any auctions online that are less than 25,000 in revenue?
Correct.
Okay, and is that a 12-month look back? It's a annual?
It's in a calendar year.
Okay. Okay, that's the clarification we needed for new
Okay.
teachings, for sure, right? Thank you very
And
much.
it's important to clarify, because this is one of the reasons that we were talking about, that the revenue that they generate is in Tennessee.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have anyone else here from the public that wishes to speak? Okay, hearing none. John, I know we have someone participating via Teams. If they've got their hand raised, I welcome any questions that they've got.
At the moment, no one has their hand raised.
Okay. Members, if we have nothing else, I'll leave it up to you, but otherwise we would need a motion to adjourn.
Don't make the motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Dwayne Rogers to adjourn and a second by Jay White. I have us at 9:30. All those in favor of our meeting ending, because we have conducted all the business that was needed, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you, members. We will go ahead and adjourn. Thank you, John. We can stop the recording.